The fluorescent lights of Mel's diner buzzed overhead as Rachel wiped down table after table with the same mechanical precision she had perfected over the past 18 months. Her face remained expressionless, a carefully constructed mask that kept the world at arm's length. She had learned that smiling invited conversation, and conversation led to questions she wasn't ready to answer. At corner booth number 7 sat a man she had been serving for the past 3 weeks. Every Tuesday and Thursday evening, he would arrive with his 7-year-old daughter Emma, always ordering the same thing: a grilled cheese sandwich cut into triangles for Emma and black coffee for himself. The little girl would chatter excitedly about her day while coloring in the activity books her father brought. But Rachel noticed how the man's eyes carried a weight that seemed far too heavy for someone so young. Marcus Thompson had been coming to Mel's diner not because the food was exceptional, but because it was the only place that stayed open late enough for him to grab dinner after his double shifts at the construction site. As a single father working 2 jobs to make ends meet, these quiet moments with Emma had become the highlight of his days. But lately, something had been bothering him about their waitress. In all the times Rachel had served them, Marcus had never once seen her smile. Not even the polite customer service smile that most waitstaff offered. Her efficiency was impeccable, her service was prompt. But there was something deeply sad about her that reminded him of his own struggles after Emma's mother had left him 2 years ago. This particular Thursday evening started like any other. Emma was excitedly telling her father about her spelling test victory, while carefully staying within the lines of her coloring book. Rachel approached their table with the usual order, setting down Emma's sandwich and Marcus's coffee with practiced precision. As she turned to leave, Marcus found himself calling out softly, "Rachel, could I ask you something?" She paused, her body tensing slightly as she turned back toward their table. Her dark eyes held a mixture of caution and resignation, as if she was bracing herself for whatever was coming next. "I've been coming here for weeks now, and I've noticed something," Marcus continued gently, his voice barely above a whisper, so as not to embarrass her in front of other customers. "You never smile. Not once. I was just wondering if everything's okay." The question hit Rachel like a physical blow. For a moment, she stood frozen, her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. Emma looked up from her coloring book with curious eyes, sensing the shift in the atmosphere around their table. Rachel's throat tightened as she struggled to maintain her composure. In all the months she had been working at the diner, no customer had ever asked her a personal question. Most barely acknowledged her existence beyond placing their orders. But this man, this stranger, had noticed something that even her own family had missed. The truth was that Rachel hadn't had a reason to smile in over a year. Not since the accident that had taken her younger brother David, the only family she had left after their parents had died in a car crash when she was 19. David had been her world, the bright spot in her life that made everything else bearable. They had been walking home from the grocery store when a drunk driver ran a red light, and in an instant, her entire world had crumbled. The guilt had been eating away at her ever since. She had been the one who suggested they walk instead of taking the bus. She had been the one who wanted to stop at the store for ice cream. In her mind, every decision she had made that day had led to David's death, and the weight of that responsibility had stolen every ounce of joy from her life. Marcus watched his emotions flickered across Rachel's face, and he immediately regretted asking such a personal question. He was about to apologize when she spoke, her voice barely audible above the diner's ambient noise. "I lost someone very important to me," she said simply, her eyes focused on the worn linoleum floor. "It's been hard to find reasons to smile since then." Emma, who had been listening with the intuitive wisdom that only children possess, reached into her backpack and pulled out one of her colored pictures. It was a rainbow drawn in bright crayons with stick figures standing underneath it, all wearing big smiles. "This is for you," Emma said, holding the picture out to Rachel. "My daddy says that rainbows come after storms, and they're like promises that things get better. Maybe you need a rainbow today." Rachel's breath caught in her throat as she accepted the simple drawing. It was the first gift she had received since David's funeral, and the innocence and kindness behind it broke through her defenses in a way that nothing else had been able to do. For the first time in over a year, tears began to flow down Rachel's cheeks. But these weren't the bitter tears of grief she had grown accustomed to. These tears carried something different, a tiny spark of warmth that she had thought was lost forever. Marcus reached into his wallet and pulled out a small card, writing something on the back before handing it to her. "This is a number for a grief counseling group that meets at our community center. After Emma's mom left, I thought I was drowning in my own pain until someone reached out to help me find my way back to living again. You don't have to carry this alone." Rachel looked at the card, then at Emma's drawing, and finally at Marcus's kind eyes. In that moment, she realized that her brother David wouldn't have wanted her to stop living because of what had happened to him. He would have wanted her to find joy again, to smile again, to let people care about her again. The following week, Rachel found herself sitting in a circle of strangers who understood her pain in ways that no one else could. She learned that grief wasn't something to be overcome, but something to be carried with love and honored through living. Slowly, with the help of the group and the memory of a little girl's rainbow drawing, Rachel began to heal. 3 months later, Marcus and Emma arrived at Mel's Diner for their usual Thursday dinner. But something was different. Rachel approached their table with a genuine smile lighting up her face, and for the first time since they had known her, she looked truly alive. "How are my favorite customers tonight?" she asked warmly, and Emma giggled with delight at the transformation. As Rachel took their order, Marcus noticed that she was wearing a small rainbow pin on her uniform, and he knew that sometimes the smallest act of kindness could create the biggest changes in someone's life. That evening, as they were finishing their meal, Rachel sat down at their table for a moment during a lull in the dinner rush. She had been promoted to shift supervisor and was even considering going back to school to finish her degree in social work, something David had always encouraged her to do. "You saved my life that night when you asked me that question," she told Marcus quietly. "I was at the end of my rope, and your kindness gave me permission to start healing again." Marcus shook his head with a gentle smile. "We all need someone to notice when we're struggling. Emma and I were just glad we could be here for you the way others have been here for us." As they prepared to leave that evening, Emma handed Rachel another drawing, this one showing 3 stick figures standing together under a bright sun. At the bottom, in her careful 7-year-old handwriting, she had written "Friends Forever." This story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful acts of kindness are simply paying attention to the people around us and having the courage to reach out when we notice someone is hurting. A single question asked with genuine care can change the entire trajectory of someone's life, creating ripples of healing and hope that extend far beyond what we could ever imagine. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Pure Kindness Stories for more inspiring tales of human compassion. Share this story with someone who might need a reminder that there are still good people in this world who care about each other. Together, we can create more moments of kindness that change lives forever.